Hey there, folks. Welcome to week 3 for this month. We are working on this tune Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper. In this beginner intermediate class, we're going to be focusing on the work we've been doing in the last 2 weeks, building on the beginner arrangement. We'll see if we can step up the progression a little bit, focus on some of the elements that happen in the intermediate arrangement. Remember, you can find all of these handouts and all of the resources on the resources page of the landing page for this month's tune, Time After Time. Today, also week 3, I really wanted to focus a little bit on singing and playing. A lot of times, getting some really strong foundational ideas about the cadence of how the melody moves. If you can kind of lock in a few, principal themes that happen, then what ends up happening is it's a lot easier to sort of build every, sequential sequence of this, or sequential verse or chorus of the song, because most oftentimes the melody is going to repeat in those songs. So if you can kind of get a feel for how a melody moves through a verse, it's probably going to be the same or very, very similar in the next verse. So remember those little landmarks that you're trying to teach yourself. They're so important to get down, especially when if you can integrate it into the right and left hand technique, into the rhythm that we're playing, and then also the chords. Cool. So let's do a quick review of all of the elements that we need, and then we will get into some singing and playing. So for this tune, let's go ahead and, not quite getting our angle there. Let's see if that fixes it. Not quite. This image here. Oh, there it is. Okay, awesome. Cool. Sorry about the little technical difficulties there. Let's go ahead and jump to our beginner handout. Let's review the rhythms that we need to know. First of all, for our verse, remember this is the more empty rhythm. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and, sorry, my humidifier is still in my instrument. So we'll go ahead and turn this on. Do a quick tune. Okay, cool. Remember, we're playing on the first beat, the down strum there, and then the off beat of 2 is where we're coming up with that up strum, right? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. Sounds like this. So 1 and 4, 1 and 4. Remember, this is our more empty rhythm for the verse of the tune, and we're pivoting between 2 chords, D minor and C. Let's give that a try. Ready? Changing on the off beat of 2. 2, ready, D minor to C. That's it. Lying in my bed again, down to gray. Good. Let's give a try to the second line, which is our rhythm that we're using for our chorus. 1, 2, ready, and sounds like this. 1 down, up, and 4, and 1 down, up. Beautiful. Now that sequence in red, the first half, remember, that is when we're going to split measures, right? So in the chorus, when we're doing this rhythm, we're going to be splitting between the F and the G chord. 1, 2, show me G first, full measure. A minor, split the measure. 1, 2, and switch 4 and C chord. Beautiful. Let's try it again. Lost, you can look and you will find me. F, time after time. Beautiful. One more time. If all I can get, you I'll be waiting. F to G. Time after time. And let's go F to G. Time after, and let's finish on C. Beautiful. So those are the 2 rhythms that we need to know to kind of move through the tune. The bottom line is the little intro picking pattern that we're using, and we're going to learn a set of chords to give us that little intro riff, right? Let's go ahead and go over the picking pattern first. Sounds like this: C, E, G, and A. Remember, when we are finger picking, really try and focus where your hand lands on the ukulele, And then also what part of your fingers you're using to play these strings, right? I want my thumb, my pointer, and my middle to all grab the C, E, and A strings at the same time. And then if I was to just like close my hand, almost like I'm creating kind of a, you know, a slight fist here, just really the most ergonomic way that your hand will close. And you notice how the thumb is in front, dropping downwards, and the pointer in the middle can pull up into my palm. That's really the way that you want to approach finger picking, is with this position. Now, the C also is responsible for the top string as well. So when we play this picking pattern, we're using our thumb on C, pointer on E, G is our thumb, and our middle finger is A, C, E, G, A. I also like to call this picking pattern inside, outside, right? All right, let's see if we can give that picking pattern a try. Remember, holding C, E, G, A, and then holding for beat 3 and 4. 1, 2, sounds like this. C, E, G, A, 4, C, E, G, A, 3, 4, and C, E, G, A, 3, 4, and C, E, G, A, 3. Last time, C, E, G, A, 3, 4. Nicely done. All right, let's see if we can learn a set of chords here. 2, 0, 1. Just like a normal F, except now I'm going to either put my pinky or my ring finger. Most likely your pinky is going to feel better because of position, but it might not feel as good because your pinky is not quite, you know, trained up yet for ukulele, right? It might be one of your weaker fingers. And so you can either introduce your pinky here, or if, you know, you can get more, consistency with this chord shape with the ring finger, then go ahead and do that, right? Here is my F chord modified, 2, 0, 1, and then 3rd fret on the A string. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play G chord, but instead of using my ring finger on the E string, I'm going to try to put my middle finger there on the 3rd fret. Now I can put my pinky really easily on the 5th fret of the A string. 2, 3, 5. Now it's really important to understand that when I'm in this position, I'm actually moving a little bit down the fretboard. You notice how now my pointer finger, instead of being lined up with the 1st fret, it's lined up on the 2nd fret. That way my pinky can get to the 5th fret a little bit easier. Beautiful. And then from here, we're in actually the right position to move into our E minor chord, 0, 4, 3, and 2. And then we go back to our modification of the F chord. Let's see if we can try whole notes. 1, 2, ready, and 2, 0, 1, 3. 2, and ready, 0, 2, 3, 5. 2, and ready, E minor, 0, 4, 3, and 2. 3, and then back to the 1st position for 2, 0, 1, 3. Let's try that again. Here we go. And these are the chords that we're going to use for our intro, right? Remember, applying the picking pattern is going to be really difficult if you're struggling with any of these chord changes. So really make sure that you map these chord changes out. They feel good in your hands before moving on to introducing the picking pattern, right? Just for sake of class, we're going to go ahead and jump forward. Even, you know, if folks aren't ready for it, they can always review the last section or, you know, spend some focused time on their own. Cool. We'll try the picking pattern now. 2, 3, 4. C, E, G, A. Switch. C, E, G, A. And then E minor. C, E, G, A. Beautiful. So we have 4 measure rotation here. We're just going to repeat the whole thing for our introduction. Beautiful. 0, 2, 3, and 5. To E minor, 0, 4, 3, and 2. To F, 2, 0, 1, and 3. Beautiful. All right, so in the arrangement, we're doing that 2 times. For now, we're just going to loop it over and over so we get some practice. But remember, what you're looking for here is to bring it up to the speed of whatever you're doing for the verse and the chorus, right? If your verse sounds like this, if you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Then that means your picking is going to be here, right? 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2, right? We'll slow it down a bit. 1 and 2 and ready. F, 2, 0, 1, 3. And G, 0, 2, 3, and 5. We're shifting position. And now 0, 4, 3, and 2. And now back 2, 0, 1, and 3. Beautiful. 2 more times. And here we go. 0, 2, 3, 5 for our G modification. 0, 4, 3, and 2 for our E minor chord, which we've been working. And 2, 0, 1, and 3. Last time. Here we go. Ready. 2, 0, 1, and 3. Now 0, 2, 3, and 5. Nicely done. And nice. go. Cool. Why don't we just stay on this vein here, because if we take a look at the song sheet, the overview here, you'll notice that we have these two riff sections, right? We've got an interlude. We've got an intro riff at the top, which is what we just did. Remember, 2 rotations of our chord progression. F modified, G modified, E minor, back to F modified, right? We do that 2 rotations, and that's going to be our intro riff, right? And then we're into verse 1, flow through the tune as normal. And then we get here to this interlude riff. Now, what's really cool is that we are going to be borrowing from this concept of modification. We're going to be taking chord shapes that we know how to play, and we're just going to be tweaking them a little, right? We actually get to recycle this one. All right, now the only difference is that I'm going to add 1 melody note after that picking pattern. So it's going to sound like this: C, E, G, A, and then I play A again after a quarter note. But the difference is I'm moving from the 3rd fret, putting my ring finger down on the 2nd fret, right? 2, 0, 1, and 3, and then I shift it to 2, just like that. One more time. Yeah, nice. Last time, here we go. 2, 0, 1, 3, moving to 2, 0, 1, and 2, right? Okay, so that's my first measure. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a G chord, one that I already know how to play, right? Only difference is I'm going to try to lift my middle finger here. So that means that what I'm playing is 0, 2, 3, and open. And I would suggest using this fingering because your hands are probably have some muscle memory getting into this G chord with the middle finger here. So just go ahead and see if you can lift it. Now what might happen is the ring finger might pop up or the pointer finger, just because we're not used to this kind of independent control. So one thing you can do is just take these 2 fingers and see if you can put them down without the middle finger. See how I did that? Now you get the feeling of what that middle finger feels like to be open. Cool? Now what we're going to do is that same picking pattern, C, E, G, A. Only difference here is that we're going to move to the 3rd fret on the E string. So I play C, E, G, A, E, right? In the first phrase, I played the A note moving on the A string, 3 to 2. Now what I'm going to do is play the melody note, open A, and then I'm going to play the E string, and it's inside the chord on the 3rd fret. Cool? Let's try and put those together. 2, 3, 4, modified F, C, E, G, A, move to 3. Nice. Go to a G chord with the middle finger lifted. C, E, G, A. Now play the E string. Now what's really great is that my right hand is actually going to do the exact same thing it just did, and I'm also going to play the E minor without my pointer finger. So that's going to make my A string open again. So now I'm playing 0, 4, 3, and open, right? 0, 4, 3, and 0. So now when I play, I'm going to do the exact same right hand, C, E, G, A, and I play the E string, just like that. Nice. One more time. Good. And last time. So just to review, I play the modified F here. I'm going to move from 3 to 2 for my 2nd melody note. Play A and move to 2. Good. Play a G with the middle finger off the A string. Now play A and then move to the E string. Now you're going to play a modified E minor with the open string on the open A string, and then you're going to do the same thing. C, E, G, A. All right, now right when I play this note, what I'm going to do is play a more kind of, traditional melodic line. I'm going to play 3, 1, 0, and then I'm going to put my middle finger down here on the 2nd fret of the C string, and I'm going to play C, open E, and then I'm going to lift my middle finger for the last open C note. So it sounds like this: 3, 1, 0, 2, open E, and then open C. I'll go ahead and play it fast so you can hear how the melody. Cool. All 8th notes, all the same duration, and kind of moving a little bit more quick. 3, 1, 0, 2, open E, and then open C. Cool. So I'm going to play the whole thing just so you can hear it in the context. Moving to 2, middle finger off, moving to E, pointer finger off, and now I'm going to go 3, 1, 0, and then 2, 0, and open. Cool. Play it at speed now. And again. what happens on the second rotation is all I do is repeat that little line. So I play it once, and I wait a quarter note and then do it again as a little bit of a tag. Cool? So this is the whole thing. First time, empty space. Now remember, all you're doing is the exact same thing, and then you're going to repeat that last little phrase. So it sounds like, and then we are into our verse. Cool? Let's see if we can try it together. 1, 2. Ready? Here we go. And move to 2. Play the G string with the middle finger off. Play A and then E. Play the E minor, pointer finger off. 3, 1, open, 2, 0, and open. And then we wait, and then we start again. Nicely done. We walk down, 3, 1, 0, 2, 0, open. And then we play it again for our last little tag. And that's it. That's how you play those 2 riff sections, right? For our intro riff, we're going to be playing just the picking pattern. And then for our interlude riff, what we're going to be doing is playing the picking pattern plus a little bit of melodic interjection, especially as we get to the end of the phrase, right? All right, that might get us all the way through the tune. Let's give it a try, shall we? So we're going to move through this nice and slow, especially for the parts that are brand new, the intro riff and the interlude riff, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, here we go. Line. Oh, sorry, we're going to go to the intro riff. 1, 2, picking pattern, modified F. And then 0, 2, 3, and 5, modified G. And then to the E minor, 0, 4, 3, and 2. And then back to that modified F. Beautiful. Just for visual, we'll go through it on our next rotation with my hands showing 0, 2, 3, 5. Nice. 0, 4, 3, and 2. And then back to that modified F, 2, 0, 1, and 3. And then we're into our verse, right? Oop, wrong one. Here we go. Lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you. Good. Caught up in circle. Confusion is nothing new. Nice. And then we go flashback. Full measure on E minor, suitcase, empty, memories, nice. Time after, sometimes you picture me, nice. What you've said, and you, sorry, good. What you've said, bridge 2. Full measure E minor, and then second ending. The second hand unwind. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. Nice. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. Nice. If you thirst, you can look and you will find me. Interlude riff. So we play 2, 0, 1. Let's go ahead and switch to here. 2, 0, 1, 3. Moving to 2. Modified G, middle finger off. Play the E string. Modified E minor with the pointer finger off. Now we walk our melody. 3, 1, 0, 2, 0. Open. 3, 4. We start over. Play 3 and 2. Good. Modified G. Play A and E. Now modified E minor. Play A. 3, 1, good. And then we tag. Beautiful. And then we're into verse 3. After my picture fades, nice, and darkness has turned to gray, walk So I wanted to go over a little modification. I haven't edited the handout quite yet. It will be edited soon. Basically, I just took all these repeats out. So what happens in the tune is that we do a full chorus, and then we have this kind of interlude, this musical interlude that happens before you get to this bridge and the last chorus. All we did for our arrangement is we omitted that little kind of more instrumental section because it didn't really have a riff to work out. And so now what we're doing is in this last chorus, this one we're only going to play one time. Make sense? So chorus 2, only one rotation, and then we go into this bridge. Cool? So let's try that. 2, 3. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. Beautiful. If you fall, I will catch you. Be waiting. Time after time. Then we go straight to the bridge. You said go slow. I fall behind. Full measure. Here we go. The second hand unwind. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. Nice. If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time. Nice. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time. If you fall, I will catch you. I will be waiting. Time after time. We tag. Here we go. Ready? F and G. Time after time. Beautiful. Last time. Time after time. Nicely done. Okay, cool. So let's talk about a couple of things that I was doing there. I was actually kind of including elements of our intermediate arrangement. One of them was to play in our chorus without holding those half notes. So think of that rhythm where we were kind of splitting the measure. 1, 2, and switch, 4, and going to here, right? That rhythm right there is really kind of a substitution for those half notes, right? So fall, I'll catch you, be waiting. So instead of going time after time, you can go time after time. See how I kind of more strum through it? So that's what happens in the intermediate arrangement for that tune. The other thing that I was doing, you might have caught on to it, is at the end of the bridge section. So in our bridge section, what we're doing is kind of playing that first half of the rhythm and then leaving it empty. Cool. So all I did was on the very last measure in bridge 2 and bridge 4, when we were sort of pushing ourselves into the chorus, all I did was introduce the chorus rhythm one measure early, right? So normally when we play it, we go, the second hand unwinds if you lost. See that kind of big empty space? All I really did was I changed it from E minor to F, right? And then all I did was fill in the rhythm just like we do in our chorus. So it's almost like introducing the chorus rhythm kind of pre-chorus to give us a little bit of momentum into that chorus, right? Kind of it strings together those two parts and it makes it feel a little less like this one's stopping and this one's starting, and it makes it feel a little bit more connected, a little bit more smooth in that transition as we go from verse to chorus. Cool? So let's give just that a try. We'll go to bridge 2, then you say go slow, I fall behind, the second hand unwinds, and we'll see if we can try that. 2, 3, then you say go slow, I fall behind, full measure E minor. Here we go. The second, and now we play E minor to F, up, down, up, and then straight into G. Very, very kind of subtle change, but it does wonders on being able to connect those two sections of the tune a little bit more. Okay, I did promise that we were going to spend a little bit of time on strumming. The nice part about this song is that strumming is actually really connected to how the words move. When I am looking to kind of line up the cadence of my lyrics, oftentimes what I'm doing is I'm looking for these mile markers. Most of the time they come when the chords change, right? But a lot of times most of the time those chord changes come on the downbeat, the beginning of the measure. But in this case, what we're doing is sort of splitting the measure, right? We're playing one part of the rhythm, right? And then we're switching to the next chord, right? Lion in. You kind of hear on the offbeat is where the chord switch happens. So the nice part about the cadence of this melody is that it moves in a similar way. Listen to the way it sounds when I'm just counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. On beat, lion in. Offbeat, between 2 and 3. Lion in. You hear how my in comes in between those two clicks, beat 2 and 3, right? 1 in. 1, 2 in, right? Lion in my bed, I hear. And even though there are like more words that happen in that second line, it's still trying to find those mile markers, right? Those like kind of those the guiding moments in the tune, right? So downbeat here, lion in, offbeat there, right? My bed, I hear on the offbeat. The clock tick and think of you. Cool. Let's give that a try. I'll tap the rhythm out and you just try and sing that first line. 1, 2, and remember, you don't have to sing in melody as well. You can just say the cadence of the lyrics, kind of speaking it. That'll give you a really good sense of when it is you're supposed to trigger that sound. 2, 3, 4. So it's lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you. Nice. Let's go to the next line. Caught up in circles. So this is an interesting moment, right? Because what we have to do is sort of split this word in two. Circles, right? And we hear that offbeat, that same spot. And what's really nice is this is just consistent throughout the tune. Let's go ahead and go to one of the later ones. Let's go to verse 3. After my, on the offbeat, picture fades on the offbeat, right? Make sense? So that's what we're looking for when we're trying to get the cadence of this. I'm going to play through the rhythm. You can go ahead and join me playing that, or you can just go ahead and sing along. 1, 2, first line. Here we go. Lying in my bed, I hear 4 and clock tick and think of you. I'll add the ukulele. Caught up in circles, confusion is nothing new. Now, same thing here, right? But we have the kind of and we always have the guidance of that chord change to help us, right? Flashback. You hear how it's on the up strum. Warm nights. Now here it's a little trickier. Almost left behind. Then we've got to get back into a little bit more traditional rhythm where we're sort of accenting the downbeat. The rhythm is kind of like full measure once again. Cool? So that's going to be probably the trickiest part. Remember, work a lot on these sequences and always remember you can dial back the difficulty. Take away the strumming, help yourself out by doing less while you're trying to instill how this rhythmic cadence of the melody interacts with what you're doing rhythmically on the ukulele. Okay, cool. That's the time we have for today. Be sure to tune in next week. The next week is going to be week 4. We're going to close this up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. You can always shoot me an email, or if you want to join our live Slack feed, you can go ahead and become a UkeLab Live member. That's going to be super helpful for getting answers to your questions and then also joining us for these classes live. It's really where we kind of shape all of our arrangements and we kind of create all of the content that we're working on throughout Ukulele Inspired. Okay, cool. Thanks again. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.